This is Antonio Romero
This is Junior Ibarra, and today we have another episode of Get Real Estate Rich.
with IRG.
Let's go. So, again, a little recap as to what this is about. This is about getting real estate knowledge rich and what's going on in our metro, our Des Moines metro and surrounding areas as to what's happening within the market. And today we're going to spin off a little bit because we just got back from this awesome national convention at Mega Camp where it was the top mega agents throughout the whole United States. And we got to learn from Mr. Gary Keller himself, the founder of Keller Williams. And so, Antonio, you want to hit on a little bit about what we experienced in Austin last week?
Yeah, absolutely. This is networking at a high level with agents across the country and also across the world. We were able to network with some agents from Mexico, Argentina, Italy, France. So it's always good to kind of see what is going on around the world and not just here locally, right? So that's something that we're going to be touching up on and talking about here later in today's video is what is happening on a national scale, right? So yeah, it was an amazing time down in Austin, Texas. We tried some barbecue down there. Ooh, it's to die for. The barbecue was really good. So yeah, all around it was a great little trip down there, and we're excited to get into some of the information and knowledge that we learned down there, right, Junior?
Yeah. We're going to share some of the slides that Gary Keller himself shared on stage. And so stay in touch to see what that looks like. We're going to get right into our segments. That way we can get to those slides as quick as we can. And so stay true to our episodes of Get Real Estate Rich with IRG, right? So we'll start with segment number 1, which is Antonio's pick house, favorite house of the week. So Antonio, what do you got for us?
Yeah, absolutely. So here again, as you guys have seen time and time again on our videos, this is the MLS matrix that we use, a tool we use here as realtors, right? So what we're gonna go ahead, hit active, and then we're gonna do single family homes. Let's go ahead and choose a price point. Right now, what we've seen is the average price point of homes here in the Des Moines metro, or the Des Moines area, I should say, the city of Des Moines is about 200,000. So let's just go ahead and do that for price. And we're just gonna go ahead and select all of Des Moines super quickly and see what we get. All right, add that, and we're just gonna pick the very first one we see. So hit results, first listing, 200,000. Let's do another one that has pictures. All right, right here. So it's located on Emma Avenue, again, 200,000 in price point. Located in Des Moines Southeast with 2 bedrooms, 1 full bath and 1 partial bath. Does have a walkout basement. Home was built in 1993. So gonna give you a quick preview of the pictures here. Looks like they have done some work to the home there, some newer trim. Looks like updated flooring in some places, newer countertops. Nice enclosed porch there in the back. So again, we always like to run through a few of the pictures. If you guys do want to set up a private tour to look at that specific property or any other properties located here in the Des Moines area or Iowa, reach out to me through my phone number, which is 515-525-6721. You can also email me over it's going to be Antonio at ibarrarealtygroup.com. And if you're looking to buy or sell or just want some more information on how you can do that for yourself and your family, feel free to reach out and we can definitely get some some of those questions answered and also set up some of those private tours. So with all that information, again, we want to try to keep some of these segments here quick and short. So the next segment we're going to move on to is actually Junior's IRG featured listing. So what do you have for us this week, Junior?
Yeah, so we're always putting listings up on our team every single week. And so this is one of our newer listings that just went up a few days ago. It looks like 3 days ago, priced at 230, 434 East Columbus Avenue. And this is actually with our one of our new partnerships with Invest DSM. man, you should see the quality of work that they do. It's beautiful and amazing. So here's a couple quick pics of the exterior. As you can tell, all completely updated, and a nice new driveway, new siding, new doors, all new interior, completely from everything from top to bottom, flooring, cabinets, light fixtures, and whatnot. So you can tell real quick, a couple quick sneak pics of the interior there. Looks beautiful, completely staged as well, so you can kind of get a feel of what what your potential house could look like or home could look like once you have the furniture in there. So those are a quick couple pics so that you can kind of see what it looks like. Again, absolutely gorgeous property, and there you have it. Our very own Nancy Gonzalez has that property, so feel free to give her a call at that contact information right there, and to schedule a tour or contact Antonio directly. So now we're gonna hit into the market stats. You know, every single week we're gonna hit on market stats. And Antonio, why is it important to have data and information?
Absolutely. It's important for you to have the information so that way you can make an informed decision for yourself and for your family. And also being able to see a pattern, because history, as we've seen time and time again, it does repeat itself. So seeing this pattern, that way you know how to make the best move possible, right? And like we mentioned, every single week we usually touch up on a different city, a different area here here in the state of Iowa. And we focus locally. But since we just came back from that trip, we are gonna see what's happening on a national scale level now. So perfect little segment there or transition for you, Junior.
Yeah, let's do it. So I'm gonna get right into the slides here. And again, we received this information down in Austin from Mr. Gary Keller and his team themselves at Keller Williams. So let me go ahead and here's the market update. So there's just I'm gonna go through this rather quickly. If you want to, talk in more detail, feel free to give us a call. But this kind of just shows you home sales monthly. The orange is 2020, purple is 2021, and the teal here is 2022. So you can kind of see, kind of where we're at in regards to 2020, 2021 kind of went up, and this is just January through July, as you can tell, right? So as you can tell right now, say look at July a little bit. It's a little bit lower than it was July of last year, but that's kind of how it trended this whole time. So like a lot of the media goes out and says, the sky is falling, this and that, houses aren't selling. Yet this kind of shows you we're still selling 4.8 million houses, are on track to sell that many going into the rest of the year. So plenty of houses being sold. This tells you this right here is the long-term average, which is this yellow trend line is the 4% appreciation that tends to happen in the real estate sector here in the US economy. And you can kind of tell here, in '01, it went above that trend line, '02, '03, '04, '05, '06, '07. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years above that trend line. And then it trickled down here, in that 2008 downturn. And since then, we've been below that trend line. And so we're finally starting to hit that trend line. And we've actually gone above it here in 2021 and 2022. So again, this kind of just shows you what the median home price is. As of right now, it looks like it's 395, or that's what it's projected to be for the after this year is over. So this kind of shows you some of that information. Inventory is starting to creep up. So again, orange is 2020. Pink is 2021 and teal is 2022. So last year in July, it was about 2.6 months worth of inventory, and this month it crept up a little bit to 3.3, which is good. This is like good for buyers because it's not like where we were last year or even like 3 months ago, where buyers couldn't even think. Right, you literally had to. There was 20 plus offers on the table, so you had to write usually above list price, no inspections, none of that stuff. because you had no time to actually like think about what offer you were going to write or if you could actually negotiate inspections. So this is good for all the buyers out there that didn't want that kind of craziness happening when it was time for them to buy. Now you have time to think, you have time to negotiate, so it's in your favor when the inventory starts to go up a little bit, right? The other thing here though to kind of keep in mind, even though inventory is creeping up, days on market is still really low. So as you can tell here, this is days on market. And so it's actually lower than it was last year as far as average days on market. This is national numbers. So keep in mind, if you want to, real estate is local, right? Hyper local. So if you want to talk about what's happening in the Des Moines market, let's grab a coffee and talk about those numbers. You know, we are seeing more time for buyers to be able to react and make, you know, educated decisions to be able to buy their homes and negotiate for inspections. Yet it is still, you know, the houses are still selling here in Des Moines, and it's considered a seller's market because houses are selling in less than 3 months still. So yet it's not as like crazy where you have 1 hour to make a decision on whether you're going to write an offer or not. So to continue to go through that, oh, and then I guess here, Antonio, like since you're working with a lot of buyers, you can kind of speak to that a little bit and then hit on the mortgage interest rates. But are you seeing that you can actually have time to write an offer with your clients and put them in a position where it's to their favor as well, instead of like going crazy, over asking, no inspections, no contingencies, no nothing?
Yeah, definitely, Junior. You know, that's exactly what we are seeing on our side is working with many buyers, right? Is before we would, you know, I would have a client reach out and they would want to go see a house. We would have to, I would have to go and show it within the next like 3 hours, and if I didn't, then that house was gone. You know, things were just selling that quickly. So is exactly right. So we're now we are able to, you know, set up showings and look at houses with more time, whether it's the next business day or you know, we're able to do that and also negotiate those inspection items, negotiate closing costs, negotiate home warranty and some of those other terms that factor in. Now, just really quickly, you know, we saw one of the slides you showed there, Junior, was home prices. We did see that in the year of 2022, the home prices are above that 4% trait, above
Trend
that
line,
line,
yeah.
right?
Mhm.
So with the home prices being a little bit above, I always get the question is what are interest rates looking like? You know, I feel like a lot of people have been saying lately that they feel like interest rates are going up a lot. Now, if you look at it here, that orange line right there, those are the last 50 years, right? So the last 50 years, what the average was about 7.81 in the last 50 years. That's what the interest rates were. Now, if you go to the green one, that's the last 30 years. So if we see in the last 30 years, the average interest rate was about 5.97. And if we go to 2021, we're sitting right at 2.96. Here in 2022. We are a little bit closer to that 5%, but we're still below the average interest rate for the last 30 and also last 50 years, right? Right now we're sitting about 5%. It just kind of depends, right? Because they change. But we are still below that average interest rate. So with that, again, you know, if you have questions, if you want more information, reach out to us directly. We're more than happy to you know, really give you an understanding of what is going on in today's market.
Absolutely. The biggest thing is like Antonio says, we're below it, right? And so the U.S. economy most likely wants to get back up to the average, which is 6 or almost 8%. And the good thing is that if you are able to lock it in before it goes up, it won't ever go up on you, right? You lock it in for the next 30 years. And if for some reason that actually goes down, because some people are like, well, what if it goes down? Well, the good thing is you can benefit from both, right? If it goes up, and it gets back up to 7.81%, which is the average, or Who knows? Does it get above? Does it get as high as 16.63? I don't know. I doubt it, right? But only God knows that. And but yeah, so even if it went up to 7.81, if you locked it in, it doesn't go up on you. And if for whatever reason it does go back down to 2.96 for the threes, which according to some of the statisticians, like they don't ever believe that it will get back that low again. Yet if it for some reason it does, then you can refinance into that lower rate, right? So you can kind of benefit from both sides of that coin. Here's unemployment numbers. This is just general US economy numbers. As you can tell, this is actually some of the lowest unemployment rates we've seen. And according to the statisticians that they mentioned, is some of the lowest we've seen in the history of the US, which is good. That means people have jobs. This is also one of the things that they mention is like the biggest gap. So here's the number of job openings in the millions, 10.7, and here's the unemployment rate, like I mentioned. So the gap between that is big. One of the biggest gaps we've seen. And from our understanding, the reason why that's happening is like in, this post-COVID world or whatnot, after 2020, like a lot of people left the market or the job segment of the US and didn't come back. And so there's all and we're having growth here in the US, and so there's a gap there that we need to fill. So it's a good time, in regards to if you're looking for new job repositionings and whatnot, in order to seek, maybe the career that you're going after. Here's inflation. So right now, according to these numbers, it's kind of like the 7.04 factor, and they predict that it's going to take until about, they want it to be right around that 2%, that pink line right there, which is what their target is typically. And so they predict it'll take a couple years to get it back down in that 2%. So with that being said, one of the levers that they do pull is interest rates. So, and interest rates can be one of the biggest factors of what could affect you in regards to your monthly budget for your house. So again, we highly, highly recommend that if you're planning on buying in the next 1 to 4 years, that you lock in today's lower interest rate and capitalize on that. Predictions are that pricing, just because inventory is still so low across the US, and I'll show you kind of why that is. Well, here it is. Here's a good reason. Here's a reason why inventory is at one of the all-time lows in the US. It's because back in 2008, during the downturn, the average number of homes that were built is this orange trend line here, which is 1 million homes every single year. Yet in 2008, builders got pulled out of the market. So then we have this gap. So another 400 million, so this is in the millions here. So 400 here, 600 here, and so tons of houses that weren't being built because we're below this trend line. Yet, naturally, the population is still growing. There's still growth happening. So because of this huge gap is one of the reasons why we saw so much appreciation here within the last few years, just because of the lack of inventory, which ended up pushing prices for all the resale houses up, right? And so it looks like we started climbing above 1 million houses being built here in 2021 and a little bit in 2022. So hopefully the builders continue to build to hopefully make up for some of that, but it's going to take years upon years to catch up back to the normalcy, right? Because of just all these huge gaps every single year of houses that weren't built, even though population is still growing. So just that, again, that's why the prediction is pricing may not go up as crazy as he did these last couple years, which it literally went up 20% year over year almost, so almost 44% over the last couple years according to the stats. Yet they will still continue to go up kind of more naturally, maybe to that 4% trend line that we saw earlier. So rents are also skyrocketing right now, just because, again, inventory is another issue with rents and whatnot. And so rents is now, looks like according to CoStar here, on average, in the local metro area. And I have seen rent quite, lots of people competing for rent and paying higher rents. So one way to avoid paying a higher rent is to lock in your monthly mortgage for 30 years by buying a home, right? So if you want to avoid the roller coaster of these rent rates going up, one way to do that is just by buying your own home and locking in your rate, right? So another benefit to being a homeowner. So there you have it. I think that was my last slide there. Yeah, it looks like it was. And I hope some of that information, passes along and you're able to make informative decisions with that information. So now we're going to go to the last segment, which is one of my favorite segments, and that is spin that wheel. So Antonio, I know you have some names picked out with, and a big shout out to the team, right, Antonio? We got 400 reviews on Google now officially and climbing. And so I think you picked some of those newer reviews to that engaged with us on Google and Facebook. And so who's the names that we got and who's going to be the winner?
Yeah, absolutely. So these are some most of these are recent reviews we just got. So let me go ahead and share my screen here once again. All right. So we got spin that wheel here. So these are the names. We got Stephanie, Angel, Crystal, Lily, and Nathan. There to the right are the names. So again, with your help, Junior, let's go ahead and spin that
Spin that
wheel.
wheel. Woo!
All right, let's see who it is.
Here it goes. Who's going to be the winner? And the winner is.
Oh, oi!
Oh, Nathan. All right, Nathan, we'll be reaching out to you so that we can get you that $5 tasty taco card from our friends over at Tasty Tacos. And a shout out to Josh Mosqueda over there. And again, I hope you took a little bit away from this. We have a lot of fun doing these, and our goal is to continue to keep these consistent to be able to just share information and knowledge. So that way you can have another episode and tasting of Get Real Estate Rich
With IRG.
All right, we'll see you on the next one.